How are we doing there, boys and girls? Manthieus here, welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about how you can level some alts in Mr. Pandaria Remix. Going into this mode, a lot of people were quite excited about the opportunity to build up a bunch of alts, maybe playtest a few new classes. It was a bit of a rocky start. We were not presented with what we expected to get, but it actually turns out that leveling alts in this mode is still very quick, remarkably fast actually. It is not uncommon to be able to get a level 70 alt made up and running. Well, my record time is a little over 4 hours, but I've been doing it with a DPS class. If you do it as a tank or a healer, you can shave like a good hour off that. And I want to tell you exactly how to do it. We're going to talk about it, we're going to dive straight in. I will probably put some B-roll footage over this at certain points, but I have wrote some notes down for you on exactly how this works. There are some prerequisites that are worth noting. You are going to need to have the 4200 thread achievement on your main first. What is it called? I should have planned this ahead of time, shouldn't I? That would have been sensible. Infinite Power. Gather 4200 threads for the Cloak of Infinite Power. This is going to mean that when you make that alt character, when you make that new level 10, they're going to start with the biggest and best cloak they possibly can. The reality here is that they're going to start with 100% bonus experience on their cloak. If you haven't got this on your main character yet, keep playing for a little bit, keep doing what you do until you do. This will mean that that alt is going to start with the best potential, the best boost we can give it. If you've got that, the next thing you want to do, this is probably one of the most important things you need to do, is you need to go into your settings and you need to make sure that auto loot is off. A lot of people have this on by default. A lot of people will have the shift key bound to auto loot. Turn auto loot off. This is going to be apparent exactly why in a minute. You do not want to be auto looting things accidentally. This is critical. What we're going to be doing though is we're mostly going to be running dungeons, heroic dungeons to be precise. When you run a heroic dungeon and you kill a boss in a heroic dungeon, you will get a bonus XP token. This is the thing we do not want to pick up. This is imperative to how the entire thing works. We do not pick up these bonus XP tokens. By not picking them up, they'll end up in your mailbox. This is the trick to the entire system. They'll end up in the mailbox and we use them later. What we're actually going to do is get to about level 40, 42 and then turn in all of these XP tokens in one go and slingshot our way straight to level 70. But let's talk about how we get there first. You're going to start off by just doing 8 heroic dungeons. 8 heroic dungeons once you get in at level 10. Of course, get your cape, take the skip in the first little zone. And if you've unlocked all of the jewelry on your main account, you can fly over to the bazaar and pick up that jewelry as well. But you're going to want to instantly get queuing up for some heroic dungeons. From 10 to level 25, you're looking at roughly 8 heroic dungeons. When I did this last, I got myself 26 XP tokens in my mailbox. We will use these later. But at level 25, this is where we're going to jump straight into a raid. Raids are super juicy for your cloak experience. Every boss in a normal mode raid is worth 12% bonus experience. So we want this as soon as possible, ASAP. Normal Mogashon Vaults has 6 bosses, 6 times 12, 72% bonus experience. A normal raid for Mogashon Vaults is very quick and easy to do. You'll find groups in the group finder permanently all day. You can even pick, you can go as far as to putting the groups for these together yourself. It's very straightforward. There's practically 0 requirements. There's no raid leading experience needed. Normal mode raids whilst leveling are practically not much different to LFR. Yet if you look at the difference in rewards to LFR, they're much better. 12% bonus XP per boss is wonderful. We want this as much as possible. So you want to clear normal Mogashon Vaults raid. Those 6 bosses should probably take you 20 minutes, maybe half an hour to do. Very simple, very straightforward. You're going to fall out of there though at about level 26, maybe level 27, and you're going to go straight back into doing some heroic dungeons. It took me 6 heroic dungeons, and in turn gave me 19 XP tokens in my mailbox. Those 6 random dungeons should get you up to 35, and this is where Heart of Fear unlocks. And we're going to do the same as what we did with Mogashan Vaults. We're going to put a group together, or join an existing group from the group finder, and we're going to go and run normal Heart of Fear. Another 6 bosses, another 72% to your cloak. By this point, your cloak is starting to get pretty beefy. You should start to notice that doing any heroic dungeons at this point, a single heroic dungeon is going to start giving you almost an entire level of experience. And you should step out of Heart of Fear at about level 36, maybe level 37, depending on how many dungeon quests you had in the run-up to this. It's probably a good thing to note that you can do the dungeon quests as you're doing this, but still try and stick to these numbers of dungeons, even if it pushes your XP a little bit. If it pushes your level a little bit further forward, it doesn't matter too much. Once you step out of Heart of Fear, you're going to need to do a couple more dungeons to get yourself up to level 40. 40 unlocks the access to Terrace of Endless Springs, the 3rd raid we're going to work through. There's only 4 bosses in there, so it's even quicker and even easier to do. Why am I taking damage? Who's standing next to me with Righteous Fury? It'll be ironic. There'll be some irony if I die here, won't there? You're going to get that extra 48%, and then you should be about what you see here. You should be around 330% XP at this point, and this is where you just go to your mailbox and open everything. Open all of those XP tokens that you've been saving from all of the dungeons up until this point, and somebody killed me. Somebody killed me. Lovely stuff. Well, we're dead. Either way, grats on your new level 70 by this point. Hopefully, if everything has gone to plan, you should have enough XP tokens in your mailbox, and it will slingshot you all the way from level 41, 42, all the way up to 70. When I did this earlier, our test little run for this on stream today went as follows. We actually landed at like 69 and a bit. We didn't quite ding level 70. I did one more extra heroic dungeon, and we killed a world boss en route, and boom, hey presto, level 70. Now, your mileage may vary slightly because it depends on the dungeons you get whilst you do this. We're doing random dungeons. Scholarmance, really good dungeon. The reason being is that has 5 bosses in it. That's going to give you 5 EXP tokens just by doing that one dungeon. So if you get, I only got Scholarmance, I think, twice out of the 16 runs that we did, 16 heroic dungeons. I only got Scholarmance twice. If you get it 3 or 4 times, you'll probably have enough EXP tokens to hit 70, probably even with a couple to spare. So that's pretty good. We did it as a DPS class. I did it as a hunter. Now, this meant I didn't get instant dungeon queues. It took me an average of about 5 minutes per dungeon to get into the queue. So if you do a little bit of maths on that, if you're doing this on a healer or a tank spec, and can get those basically instant dungeon queues across 16 dungeons, you can shave an hour off this time. So although I did it in an hour, 4 hours and 7 minutes, sub 3 hour 10 to 70 runs are entirely possible using this method. You just got to get in those dungeons nice and quickly. That's the caveat here. Now, a couple of things, if you do try and do this yourself, a couple of things to note. When you ding level 70, you are going to be weak sauce. Your gear is going to be absolutely pathetic. Don't worry about this too much. You'll see you'll have some absolutely terrible pieces of gear. This is because you've not technically got any gear since about level 40. Just do 1 or 2 extra dungeons, right? Get yourself into 1 or 2 extra heroic dungeons once you hit 70. They might be a bit rough. You might not be doing much DPS. You might die a couple of times. But a few more boss kills at level 70 in some more heroic dungeons will get you 346 pieces of gear. And hopefully you'll be able to dot them in and fill some gaps pretty quickly. And then you're off to the races. You've got another level 70 ult, and you can do with it as you please. The reason some people might do this is I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video, at the head of the video, honestly. It's really good for bronze. We actually finished with 69, nice, I know, 69,000 bronze by the end of this, which, plus doing some daily quests, you could easily get sort of like a couple of the nice big boy mounts, a whole bunch of transmog. Whatever you've got your collector's eyes on will be within reach if you do this a couple of times on a couple of alts. I personally plan to do this on a bunch of characters just so I have plenty of level 70s going into the War Within. It looks like the new expansion is going to be pretty juicy for alt armies, and I would like to get ahead of that. Plus, actually, the opportunity to play a few new classes and level a few new classes in this kind of like super duper mega fast OP mode that Mop Remix is quite exciting to me. So there we go, boys and girls. That is a little quick overview of how to get some alts up nice and fast with pretty limited amount of downtime. You can do this in one go. So yeah, there we go, boys and girls. Do it as a healer, do it as a tank. You'll get probably around the 3-hour mark. If you do it as a DPS spec, expect about the 4-hour mark. But it's pretty cool. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, boys and girls, please give the video a like. It massively helps the channel grow. Consider subscribing if you're new around here, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.